We've had a look at a bit of cold steel, but here in part 2, what can we reveal? We'll add more cuts and a bit more defense to help improve your saber presence. Hey friends, Lauren back with part 2 of our look at Hutton Sabre. As always, remember, I am not the saber expert in particular, but because I've been involved in teaching it, helping teach it, or leading a class, or assisting a class, or however it has been for the last few months, a lot of saber going on in life, so I figured we would talk about it, and, as an introductory foundational basis, I think it's pretty good. I think that we can give you some good tips, hints, and today we're going to go from our initial look. We talked about our most important positions for our guards and parries, and we talked about our basic cuts, 1 through 4, what we need to add to that. So today we should do cuts 5 through 8, and then we've done most of the cutting that we can do. I think we'll actually do all the cutting today, and then we will look at some more guard positions. We may go through all of them, but I want to keep the video a little tight, and we don't want it to run too long. Alright, so we had cut 1, cut 2, cut 3, cut 4. Let's add cut 5 and cut 6. Now you notice that I kind of bend a little bit and I'm cutting the belly. 5 and 6 in the Hutton system are primarily belly cuts. Now this will vary depending on the height of your opponent and where their belly is, and you're not digging into the side, you are just looking to cut across, open the belly, not really dig into the side. So it's very different from, say, a longsword where we're cutting up or across to get a really big, massive cut and draw it out. We're just looking to slash with our cuts 5 and 6. Yes, a 5 and a 6 can be done at head level, but predominantly they are these belly level cuts. So we can now do the windmill in full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we add cuts 5 and 6. These are generally good for opening. They're pretty easy to defend against. But if I came in with a cut 1 and tried to drop under for a cut 5, even with the opponent back, I don't have to cover as much ground. I'm just trying to get this much of the saber, just an inch or 2, across the belly, slice through. That's the idea. Okay? So these are these quick little cuts that we can follow up with. I have a cut 1, a cut 2, a cut 6. Come under. I brought the opponent up high. I notice there's a gap. And what do we do when we fight? We look for where the opponent is not defending. And we try to attack there if we can, if we have the momentum. So if you've got the opponent and they've defended and stopped and you have the advantage, the momentum, the forethought as well, a cut 5 or a cut 6 thrown into the mix is pretty good. Sometimes you don't want to go all the way down for a 3 or 4. Those can be very situational. So getting in a 5 or a 6, that's a good compromise. It's faster because I don't have to travel as much distance, and it's faster because I'm not digging into the side, I'm just trying to get the tip through the belly. It's a threat, it's quick, it's a good thing to add to your repertoire of cuts. And you can now do a full moulinet or moulinette or a windmill, however you want to pronounce that. Okay. But we also have cut 7 and 8 that we can add. And cut 7 is a head cut. It's straight down on the scalp. It's not meant to cleave through. It's meant to extend the arm, snap, hit the head. Okay? It's not that with the shoulder. It's raise the arm, snap with the wrist. That is a cut number 7. You can also do variations of them to the collarbone on either side, but generally, see the part in my hair? Everyone likes that I part my hair in the center in class because that's a good aiming spot for practicing. So when we're showing something, when I'm assisting in the class, I'm often, being used to say, see her part in hair? Cut right for that. That's what you want. And you just want to snap. Now, your scalp will bleed a lot if it gets cut, and that blood runs down the forehead into the eyes. And then the opponent can't see. And if the opponent can't see, the opponent can't fight, and you win. So there we go. So cut 7. I can come in with the 1, the defense. Maybe I come back, and I look to do a 2, but I snap down with a 1. Or I am low, I can do one. And I can also do slip moves, where I'm pulling the foot back and cutting at an advancing opponent, trying to get them in the head before they can actually swing their attack at me. Okay? So maybe they're attacking low, I attack high. We can do this in longsword, we can do this in saber. Excellent move. Okay. There's also 8, a rising cut, that's vertical straight up, kind of drop and turn. Depending on how your arm moves, you'll have different ways of doing this, but you basically want to come up. You don't want to bring the whole sword like that. You want to have the shell kind of in an upward position and moving up, and you want to move up. You are actually aiming for probably cutting up to the belly button. This is called Ungentlemanly by Hutton, and it's kind of tricky to land, but it's good to have it as something you know how to do. You end up caught in a low position, that's a threat. If you are practicing this, please either go really slow and know what's coming so that the opponent, whoever you're training with, knows what to defend, or have proper groin protection. Very important, okay? Doesn't matter who you are, you either have to not use it and be agreed upon, use it slowly and, do the defense properly, which we'll see in a second, or, be safe about it, okay? So, either don't use it slowly and with knowledge, or have protection. There we go. Okay, so how would I defend against these? Well, let's start with the 8, because that's where we are, and we have horizontal court. So we have the sword coming across, horizontal, straight line. So imagine if we were in court or cart, we are just dropping the sword down. Bang, horizontal cart. Okay, that's how we defend an 8. How do we defend a 7? Similar kind of concept. This is called St. George. St. George's parry, or the head parry. Quint in some earlier systems, I believe. But St. George, or the head parry, it is in front and above you. If there is a particularly strong impact and then your saber is knocked down, it's not going to drop on your head. It's just going to kind of move in front of you, and you're catching that angle. So, cut from below, horizontal court. Cut from above, head parry. So we've added that now. What about 5 and 6? Well, we can have tierce and cart for some of our moves. Well, we can do a low tierce and a low cart. Notice that I'm also dropping my balance. I'm bending a little bit more, and I'm dropping the shell of the sword, and I'm catching low. And just enough to catch it on the strong or fort of the blade and keep it to the outside of my zone of defense. There we go. So regular tierce, in cart, low. We'd also do high, because that will defend against cut number 7 that's coming down towards the collarbone, or even just a cut number 7 if they are on a slightly different line from us. We can come up high tierce, high cart. Wow. Okay, but we're not done yet, because we have a bunch more that we should add, and normally in our training we would have added these already. So we also have to look at the primes, because we have low prime, prime, which is, we often say looking at your watch, even though who wears watches these days, I guess you could have an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or something, but we also have high prime, where you're looking under your arm. The exact position is shown slightly different depending on certain drawings and certain manuals, but you want it protecting your zone, kind of out and in front of you. So these are the primes. High prime, prime, low prime. Important because maybe I'm in a position where I've blocked low. That's a lot of work, but maybe coming up from a certain position. So if I've gone second below, high prime might be easier to get to than taking the point all the way. The point might not make it. So we want to make sure our movements are small when we're changing our guards. This is why we do guard transition practice. So here I am, I did a second. I blocked that. the opponent wants to come around, that's really easy for me to come up into high prime. Or if they come around to the other side, I can low prime as well as septime. I have a choice, depending on how I might want to follow up. Of course, that depends on the edge we're going to use, and that's not the topic for this video. Alright, so we're almost done adding our guard positions. What do we have left? Well, what we want to add is that you can use the back edge, or false edge, in order to defend. And we have octave, so that's your back edge out or to your right side. So we had second, which is you using the long front edge. The false back edge, there we go. That's your octave. If you're in an upward position and you come across and you are parrying, of course, step back when you parry. I'm only stepping forward so I don't hit the wall. I move back, I parried, I've got the fort or strong of the back of the blade, that is 6-day. And so that is my defense there. We also have a high second, so if we block, see, things are already falling. If I block low, I could just come up, that's a high second, because it's fast, faster than coming up to tierce and moving the point all that way. High second, regular second, 6-day. And finally, high octave. So maybe if I had blocked a septime and a cut is coming around this way, instead of taking the blade and the point and all that mass, all I have to do is loosen my hand a bit and bring the shell 180 degrees up, and that's a high octave. High octave is really just letting gravity take the blade and hold it. And there it is. It's a defense. So a lot of times we want gravity to be our friend in our guard transitions. Here, I'm not forcing the saber down from cart to septime. I'm just letting it drop. Remember, don't have such a tight grip. We have this thumb-based, handshaky kind of grip. Don't squeeze. Squeezing tenses your muscles. That slows you down. Just let it go. Let gravity do the work. And only tighten your grip again right for the impact. Okay? So, put it all together. We had cut 1, cut 2, cut 3, cut 4, cut 5, cut 6, cut 7, and there could be various cut 7s, and cut 8, and of course you could do a cut 3 rising to the cheek. And then all of our defensive positions. So from our resting medium, our medium, tierce, cart, low tierce, high tierce, high cart, septime, second, octave, 6-day, high octave, horizontal cart, head parry, high octave, octave, low octave. And I'm sure I'm missing a few things. In other systems, they have hanging points, and this Hutton system, we don't really have those. But there are moves that you can add to your skill set. But the whole idea of knowing all of these different guard / parry positions is solo-wise, with footwork, transition through them and find what goes well from where to where. If I am in my cart, head parry is very easy. I am just fixing this point, and I'm coming up, and I'm blocking. Not bad. Easy enough, right? Well, with practice, sure. So you have all of these different positions that you can be in, all these variations of a single guard, different elevations, if you will. You practice them, you move through them, and you find out how to go from this one. Do I prefer to come back to a 6-day, or do I want to come to a tierce? Which is going to be faster? And it's like, oh, well, I block septime, I can do a 6-day if the opponent comes around. Of course, if I blocked and the opponent's taking all that time, I could probably get in a counterattack before they come all the way around. But we'll talk about that in part 3 when we add the point. But getting to the point of this video, I just want to say thank you everyone for the support. We are now at 809 subscribers as of time of recording. That's really cool. And we've had some good comments and feedback and likes. And do remember to subscribe and keep on commenting and keep on asking questions. You know, because maybe you have questions about cuts 3 and 4. And you just have to get used to cuts 3 and 4. It works the tendons. You gotta stretch those tendons. Biomechanics, they take time to develop. You just need to put in the practice. And 2 or 3 minutes every day of a little bit of footwork. And just turning the saber, or raising the saber, or just little movements. Just to get your body to keep being used to it and developing. That's gonna be important stuff. Alright, for now, friends, take care. Stay safe. See you next time for part 3 about the thrust, and keep on swinging.